Okay. So welcome everybody. We're very excited to have you join us for our first FINANCEfems event through the Connecticut Women's Hall of Fame in partnership with HAYVN. I'm going to just introduce Felicia Rubenstein, who is the owner of HAYVN, who has graciously shared her Zoom with us for this event. So Felicia.
Yeah. Hi. So we were originally going to do this at our space about in May. So when everything kind of came to a halt, we decided that it would be great just to do this as an online webinar. So I opened HAYVN about almost a year ago. It is a co-working space that's women focused. Men are absolutely allowed and welcome. But it's really to help women wherever they are in their career, whether they're starting a career, at the end of their career, trying to figure out how to go part-time in their career. And we have all sorts of events and support systems for women. And it's really exciting. I mean, finance is kind of the crutch of everything. So when the Connecticut Hall of Fame came and asked if we wanted to do this, I said, absolutely, I think it's a fabulous idea. I myself had to spend a lot of time trying to figure out all the finances and number crunching, and I wish I had known this kind of stuff in high school. And it's super important, especially even now with what's going on with, you spend all your time in spreadsheets trying to plan everything, and everything goes topsy-turvy, as it has right now, and you have to go back in and figure this out. So I think it's such a great idea to help at a high school level, trying to figure out your finances. So for later on in life, you can use those. But without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to you.
Thank you. And, oh, you know what? I can't share my screen. Felicia, can you make me the host? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. So welcome everybody. As Felicia had remarked, we're offering this program on FINANCEfems to really give all of you the opportunity to have some tools for your future and make sure that you have the tools to go out into the world and be financially healthy and understand finances, understand credit, how to budget, and everything that has to do with really becoming financially independent. And that's really important for us to share that with all of you. So today's workshop is called Credit Basics for a Healthy Future. And our workshop is sponsored by our generous funders, Avangrid Foundation and Fairfield County's Community Foundation. So today you will have the opportunity to explore the fascinating work that women have done in the finance field, as well as learn how to use credit wisely with women who work at finance companies. But before we begin, let's talk a little bit about the Hall and our inductees. So the Connecticut Women's Hall of Fame is all about to educate and inspire young women just like you to be the leaders and innovators of tomorrow. We do this by sharing the stories of women before you who have done amazing work in their fields in hopes that you'll identify one as a role model. And before we begin our program, I do want to thank Felicia and HAYVN and her staff for hosting our event today. So thank you again, Felicia. So I'm going to share with you some stories of Connecticut's incredible female pioneers in finance and business. Our inductees are tenacious, courageous pioneers who didn't let anything stop them from pursuing their dreams. We will be learning a bit about Denise Napier and our keynote speaker today, Jennifer Lawton. So the Honorable Denise Napier was inducted into this Connecticut Women's Hall of Fame in 2011. She is a woman of first. She is the first woman to be elected state treasurer in Connecticut history, the first African-American woman elected state treasurer in the United States, and the first African-American woman elected to any statewide office in Connecticut. Treasurer Napier is also known for her commitment to financial literacy education and to making college more affordable for Connecticut students. And we are so fortunate to have with us today the Hall's inductee from 2014, Jennifer Lawton. Jennifer is an innovative entrepreneur who used her expertise in mathematics and technology to become a pioneer in the 3D printing industry. Jennifer is Chief Innovation Officer of Techstars Incorporated. And Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great, thank you, Liz. It's nice to be here. I think that I'm going to just sort of very quickly give you, just talk about my background. I'll try to do it in 5 minutes, and I'll try not to talk too fast. So one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is the concept of finance and learning how to manage finance. And you know, the path to successful independence, especially for women, is feeling empowered to understand money and finance and numbers and not to be intimidated by them. And that's sort of where my story starts. My geometry teacher in 10th grade started the first day by telling us that girls couldn't do math and that all the girls in the class would fail. And so I went on to get an A in that class. There was, you know, for sure no wrestling coach who was going to tell me that girls couldn't do math. I left high school and went to Union College. I started at Union College. I was going to be a doctor. I wanted to, went in as pre-med, and I think my single biggest failure in my life was taking chemistry. I met chemistry, I failed chemistry, and it's probably one of the only things in my life that I failed at that I haven't iterated on. I just gave up and decided to become an applied math major instead. So I graduated from Union College in 1985 with a degree in applied math. Did make sure to go back and tell my teacher in high school that I was a math major and that girls could do math. And I graduated in 1985, was actually not a really good time financially, a little bit like the markets are today. And not only was I a female, but I had a degree in applied math, which is now a relatively coveted degree by people. It's people understand math, people think logically, are good writers, are able to do to be fairly organized and manage things. But back then it was, you know, if you weren't going into research or you weren't teaching, people didn't really know what to do with you. So my first job was actually as a secretary to a secretary at a very small engineering firm. But I needed the job. I had no other option. And so I took the job, and I learned, back in the 80s, I learned how to use a computer through using the computer-aided design system to write the newsletter. And that's really how my real introduction into technology happened. I've always followed the advice of my mother, which was that I could do whatever I wanted to do. She's regretted ever saying those words to me because I throw them back in her face anytime. I've always thrown them back in her face whenever she told me I couldn't do something. You've always told me I could do whatever I wanted to do. But basically, my mother gave me the option to be in charge of my life and to make sure that I made good use of it. After my first job, I left there to run a computer network, and then left there to work at a company called MIT Lincoln Laboratory, which is a research laboratory run by the 4 branches of the military. And it's really, it's an R&D facility. So the only job that you have there is to create a prototype that might be turned into an operational concept. And I worked on a stealth radar system there, learned how to write real-time code, learned how to work in radar. I worked on a master's degree in digital signal processing, which is an electrical engineering degree. Decided I was a bad student, and that I really didn't want to be an academic, and ended up leaving there to work for a company called Start-In Computer, which is one of the really early computing companies. It was run by an entrepreneur, Bill Poduska, who started Prime and Apollo, who's really like the grandfather of early computing. And I just fell in love with being an entrepreneur at that point. That company went under, it failed in October 1991. And I decided that I would start a company to support all of the companies that spun out of it. And started a consulting firm called Net Damon's Associates, which supported people's computer networks. It happened to coincide with the early internet. So I did a lot of really early stage website development way before any of the tools are available now to easily make websites. And sold that company in 1999 to a big web hosting company. I worked there for a couple of years, and then I worked in venture capital for about a year and a half. And then after 9/11, I decided that I didn't want to work in industry anymore. And I bought a bookstore, opened a second bookstore, and bought a coffee shop in Greenwich, Connecticut, old Greenwich, Connecticut, and ran those for about 8 years. And then after my kids grew up and graduated from high school, I left those two businesses and went back into industry, which is how I ended up as an early stage employee at MakerBot. MakerBot is a 3D printer manufacturer. I sold that company to a company called Stratasys, which is a big public company that makes 3D printer companies. I worked there through the earnout. When you sell a company, you have a requirement to work at the company for a while you transition it to the person who bought your company. And I left that company to work for a company called Littlebits. Maybe some of you have played with Littlebits. They're Littlebits that snap together to make circuits. And then I left there to work for Techstars. Techstars is a company that supports early stage entrepreneurs. We're a big seed stage investor. So we invest small amounts of money in early stage companies and expect them to grow to be big potential companies. And I started there as the chief operating officer. The chief operating officer is someone who sort of runs all the day-to-day business. And now I'm the chief innovation officer, where I run what's going to happen in the future. I mean, that's sort of in a nutshell what my background is. The reason I want to tell the whole story is so that you understand that the path that you make in your life is yours. It doesn't have to be a straight line path. There's a lot of different directions that I went, and I did that through knowing people, through networking, and through following my heart, making sure that I woke up every day happy at what I was doing, making sure that I was learning. And just want to give everyone the assurance that girls can do math, and that you can also pretty much do what you want to do if you put your mind to it. So that's me.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. We're thrilled to hear your path, and you know, it just, it's such a wonderful story to hear, you know, all the successes you've had through your life. So thank you. Thank you. So we're also excited to have Elizabeth Heiza, the Chief of Staff of Barnum Financial Group, and Mary Lansfield, a licensed financial advisor who will guide you in lessons to use credit wisely in your future. Welcome to Elizabeth and Mary. And I'll stop sharing the screen.
Thank you, Liz. I'm just going to introduce Mary real quickly, and thank you, Jenny, for those words, and congratulations on all your success. And I have to echo Jenny's comments. Girls can definitely do math, and I definitely grew up being extremely intimidated by math and avoiding it the majority of my childhood and into my adulthood. And it wasn't until I met people like Jenny who encouraged me to lean into that and learn more until I really got comfortable. So I echo her words more than you know. Mary and I are both from Barnum Financial Group. Never did I think I'd work for a financial services firm. But a lot of what we do at Barnum is we educate people on how to handle their finances, and all the wonderful success that Jenny has had in her career and everything that she spoke about. A big part of your overall success and your overall wellness is how you handle your money and how you handle your financial self. As an individual and as people, you're going to learn to take care of yourself. You're going to exercise, you're going to eat properly. You're going to do all this physical wellness for yourself. Then you're going to do all this mental wellness for yourself. You're going to make sure that you do things you like, that you hang out with friends, that maybe you take up meditation, maybe sports is your outlet. Whatever it is, there's that wellness there. Well, financial wellness is exactly the same. You know, Jenny left us with some extremely powerful words that you can do whatever it is you want to do in this world. And she's 100% correct with that. But it's easier to do those things if you're feeling financially secure. And those habits, your financial wellness and financial skills, are life habits. It's never too early to get a good financial habits. And even at your age, you could still do things that are going to have a good impact on your future. And that's what Mary is going to talk about today. Mary is a licensed financial advisor, so she works with clients every day, helping them to build their financial futures. So she's seen it all, and she's seen the downside effects if somebody doesn't prepare really well. So Mary's going to go into some things that you can do today to put you in a good financial spot in the future. Thank you for joining. Go ahead, Mary.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, will be sharing this, and you know, I tested this out on my daughter, who I think is about your age too. You know, I can't say she was overly excited, but she learned some things. So we're gonna just have fun with this, and I think we'll have an interesting, insightful presentation. So I'm going to do my sharing of the screen. Okay, host looks disabled. Let's see. Let me just see if this will share as I expected. Host disabled sharing screen. Oh, okay. Host disabled participant sharing screen. Oh, I can do it, right? It says okay.
Do it now, right?
Okay, yeah. I guess you have to stop sharing one screen and I'll start on the other. Who's sharing? Is it Liz?
I don't think it's, is it still up there?
Let's see, because I should be able, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Okay, good. That should do it.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, sorry. Because it should let me do it. I practiced this.
Yeah, it's always
Okay, so it's not letting me share it. I don't know why. Because I have it set up here. Who had it before? Did you, Jenny, did you have it on yours or?
No, I had it on mine. This is Liz.
Oh, hi, Liz.
But I'm not sharing anymore. So I wonder, it says who can share. It says only host. So Felicia, would you?
No, Liz, you're the host right now. Sorry.
Oh, I'm the host. So, okay.
Okay. Give her host rights.
Okay. So now I have all participants. So, okay. So I think you should be good.
Okay. Thanks. Let's see. Oh, you are so perfect. Wonderful, wonderful.
You learn as you go.
Okay. Okay, ladies, let me just make that bigger. Okay. Make it a full screen for you. Is that a full screen for you, or are you seeing all my slides on the sides there, huh?
I'm seeing all of it. Do you want
There
to
we
go
go.
into this?
Better. Okay. So let's begin. We'll just start off with one astounding thing. And I think it's important to know that 40% of the US households have some sort of credit card debt. Not that it's all bad, but that is a substantial amount. So credit card debt, it's sometimes, you know, it's referred to as bad debt. And interest rates are typically high. That's why it's concerning and why people consider it bad debt. So if you have a credit card and you only take minimum payments, or you carry a balance from month to month, you're going to end up with a lot of money in interest that you're going to be paying, which makes it really, really hard to get out of debt, which is what we're seeing in today's environment, because it's so easy to use your credit card. So credit card debt is usually the first thing you want to tackle when you're developing a strategy of managing debt. It's really what we look at first, and we look at which one has the highest interest rate, and we try to whittle that down first. So credit card's great, but can be dangerous. Okay, so for installment loans, can anybody, of course, as you can see, tell me what installment loans are? Give me an example.
You can put in the chat.
Right. Okay. You know what? And you've got it right here. So I won't even jump into too much on it. We've got car loans, student loans, and mortgage loans. And as it says, you're really, what you're doing is you you agree to pay a fixed amount on regular installments, and you do it over a specific time. But that, of course, includes interest until the loan is fully repaid. And if you don't repay the loan on time, as you agree, you damage your credit. So that's the first thing the companies are looking at. So let's take a look at the car loans. You know, we all want to have cars at 16, 17 years old, and the parents are probably signing for those. But if you were to take it for yourself, what do you think? We're going to look at it on a car loan. We're going to take one loan at a time. Do you think that a car loan is good debt or bad debt? I don't know if I see the chat features. You guys want to just say it, it's all right with me. Well, I'm going to give it to you. So it's considered to be good debt, and I'll tell you why. If it's good debt, if there's two factors here. The first one is if you don't buy more than you can afford, so buying the Mercedes might not work. And the second thing is you want to look at the interest rate. The lower the interest rate, the better it is. So we'll take a look at the next one, student loans, good debt or bad debt. Right, so really the student loans, fabulous debt. And the reason is it's an investment in you. It's an investment in you and the chance that you're going to get a higher income as you progress. The more education, the more experience. So education is considered to be a good debt. But of course, you do have to consider, you know, as we look at what the price tags are on various colleges, they're $60,000 a year. If there is something similar for $35,000, that's something for you and your parents to work together on. And then we've got the last one, which is mortgage loans. Now, mortgage loans, again, good or bad debt. And I'm going to say it's a good debt. And the reason I'm going to say it's a good debt is because you have a beautiful home that you can live in and raise your family. And also, it grows in value over time, hopefully. But you do pay interest on this loan, but it is tax deductible. So there's certainly some good things for that. So that's 3 types of loans that you could have. There's 4 C's to credit. And I don't know if they're, you guys, if you want to, instead of me reading, I don't know if you have the chance to just unmute yourself if there are any questions at this point in time. No? Okay. So I'll go ahead and proceed. So there's 4 C's in credit. So the first one we see right here is capacity. So that's the capacity to repay the loan or any other debt you have. Then we'll go over here to collateral. So your collateral, this is an asset that secures a loan. This is the definition, and this is in your packet. I saw it, it was beautiful in your packet. So that's really good if you have those. It secures the loan or other debt that a lender can take if you default. So this is good and it's bad, because if you default on your loan on your home, they can take your home. The bank can own that home. So we'll jump right over here to character. With character's different. So in finance, character refers to your how you've paid your bills, how you've paid any debts in the past. And what do I mean by that? I mean, have you paid it on time? Did you wait to the last moment of each month to pay that bill? They are looking at that. They're looking at the history. They're recording it. And they're also looking at the length of time you have this. So interestingly enough, I'll give you an example for my daughter. She is 17. She will go to college next year. This is an important factor for some of the younger kids. It is important to have their parents work with them. That builds their credit. And if the parents start to pay those bills, they have a better credit score than somebody that has no experience doing that. It's the length of time that you have that card that builds more and more towards your credit score. So the last one is capital, and that's the value of your assets and your net worth. Net worth is an important thing, and I'm going to make it incredibly simple for you, because net worth is just the difference of what you own, your assets, minus what you owe, your debts. And that determines your net worth. Okay, so this is what maybe a credit report would look like. This is pretty detailed. John is looking like he's doing a little bit, but he has a potential negative item here, as we're seeing. He's delinquent and in collections in 120 days. So one of the biggest ratios that the credit companies look at and they analyze is called the debt to income ratio. So in this ratio, I know it sounds, it's as easy as it sounds. It's the debt to income. But in the ratio, what you're doing is you're adding up your minimum monthly payments of all your debt. That's your credit card, what we're looking at, the car loans, the student loans, mortgage loans, or any other types of loans that you have. And we're going to divide it by your monthly income. So how much you're making. What is the goal of this? The goal is definitely that your combined minimum monthly debt payments should be no more than 35% of your monthly income. This can certainly be a challenge at some point. So why is it so important to have this debt to income, and why are they looking at it? Because it is absolutely one of the biggest factors that lenders are looking at for you to obtain any kind of credit or loans. A high level of debt, this will certainly have a tremendous effect on your credit score. And but if you have more income than debt, certainly your credit score goes up. So what do credit scores really look like? I decided to add this chart in because it's really hard to know the good and the bad of a credit score. So what is the goal? You know, we like good, right, on a grading system. We like the 690 to the 719. Interestingly enough, so the credit scores are also called the FICO scores, and it can range, as we see, 300 to 850. But interesting enough is where I was going. In 2017, the national average was an all-time high of 695, and that's pretty great. I cannot say that this will be the case after COVID. So that's a bit of a concern. We don't know, because there's a lot of problems going on and people can't pay the bills. But did you know that even when for most cell phone providers, and this is definitely for everyone that's purchasing those cell phones and they're trying to get the great service providers, that every time you go to get that cell phone, they do a credit check when you sign up for that new contract. So what happens if you have poor credit? Well, it doesn't stop you from getting a phone, and it certainly doesn't prevent you from getting this contract that you want, but you definitely will pay more. So it's something to keep in mind when you're looking at the first steps in credit. Okay, so here's some fun things. And I put this down, you know, just 2 truths, 1 lie. I don't know if you guys can tell me quickly right off the bat which one of these is the lie on credit cards. Liz, how about you?
Okay, I can definitely share. So, so a debit card, you know, it's very interesting with credit cards because I think a lot of kids mix them up with their debit cards. So
yeah.
Right. So credit cards are used to purchase goods and services. I would say that's a truth. Take money from your checking account when used to pay for purchases. I would say that is the lie.
Yes.
And are subject to interest charges if not paid in full each month. That is definitely a truth.
There you go. Well done. Well done. Yes. That's wonderful. Yay, that's right. Perfect. Okay, we're on for another fun quiz. Here we go. So it's credit versus debit. Elizabeth or one of the young ladies. I don't see them fully on my screen, so I don't know their names. But if there's maybe Elizabeth, let's give it a go. Credit versus debit.
Which ones are truth? Which ones are lies?
Well, so let's go with which card requires you to have enough money at the time for you to pay for something.
That would be a debit card, Mary.
Well done. Yay, ring, ring, ring. And which card balance can increase and accrue charges if you do not pay the entire amount each month?
That would be a credit card.
Very nice.
And that debt accrues fast.
Yes, it does. Which card may have fees associated with them?
I think they both may have fees associated with them.
Well done. Tricky one there, but well done. Yes. Number 4, which card generally offers purchase protection against faulty goods?
My initial response is credit card, but I think now they both do.
Yeah. I think it's changed, right? I think it's.
I know. It used to be credit. Yeah.
Yeah, because unfortunately, identity theft is so common now that almost every card, thank goodness, has protection services with it, which is wonderful.
Right. Number 5, which card allows you to pay for unexpected emergencies when you do not have enough money?
Also a credit card.
Very good. Well done. We will keep you. We'll keep you, Elizabeth. Well done.
Very good. Mary, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So girls, do you have a debit card or a credit card? Do you have a Would you be able to just write that in the chat if you have a debit or a credit card? Is anyone writing for me? So or can you just raise your hand if you have a debit card? Do you use a debit card? Yeah, thank you, Laisha. Thank you.
Oh, good. So she does, huh?
Very good. So my children have had a debit card for probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years now.
Yes.
And I know I had to explain, that the debit card, you absolutely have to have the amount of money in your account to pay for those items.
Right.
Or you would not be able to leave that store with those items.
Right? Or overdraft, right? Oh no, you don't even have the overdraft protection. Very good. Okay, so let's take a look. That was a very good set of questions. And I'm glad you guys, and we'll come back to the questions. And I'm just gonna really come to one last slide, which is really with that credit card and really with the debit, but really with the credit card, knowing the fine print. It is very important to read that fine print because some of those interest rates are very high. And this is important, discerning and looking and deciding which credit card is the best, especially when it's your first credit card, because it can really hurt your credit. So, we've now learned that the credit score can affect every aspect of your financial life. So it's always important to remember to take time to build great credit. So really now we can definitely open it up. There you go, Amelia, I see you down there. We'll open it up to any questions. It's a lot to take in, and especially when you're first applying for credit, and sometimes it's so difficult. I remember when I first, I was in college and I left college and I tried to apply for credit, very difficult. But do any of the girls have credit cards too, or just debit? Everybody there? Okay. Guys, can you hear me? Did everybody fall off?
No, we're here.
Oh, okay, good. Just
Yeah,
want to see if there are any other questions. I was hoping that girls might have any viewpoints on did they have credit cards for when they're going off to college? Because I'm assuming they're seniors, right?
yeah. A few people in the chat mentioned that they do not have cards.
Okay. So yeah, it's something definitely to be talking to parents about. Oh, I see. Here we are. There's a couple of more questions. Here's the chat. Let's see if there's anything else. No credit cards. Okay. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh,
I have a question that
Sure,
I have a question that might be helpful.
Sure.
Like I think some kids might go to college, or some kids might use their parents' credit cards. And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm
it
hoping
might be
not.
interesting. Might be interesting to talk about. You know, what does that does that do anything for you if you're using someone else's credit card? And also, what's the responsibility that you might need to keep in mind when you're using someone else's credit card?
Well, certainly for the, yes, for the parents, it's certainly setting those limits. It is wise. I mean, honestly, if you can, and if the parents are open to it, it does help with setting up, as I said, the longer that a high school student, it was interesting, if you're high school going into college, if they have the ability and they have the parents helping to pay that on time, it's really going to give them a strong hold on a good credit score when they graduate. But, you know, it's totally up to the way the parents want to decide to go with it. But it absolutely is helpful. There's no doubt about it. So if they had 4 years of paying excellent, on time, full amounts, credit score's going up. It is, so it's, if you can't do it and you're responsible for it, then I wouldn't. If your parents want to put a limit on it and watch it while you're in school, that's wise. A limit sounds good to me.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I did with my kids.
Very good.
I put a limit on a credit card.
Yes.
With the company, and said that they couldn't go over that. And I was very clear with my children about what their responsibilities were. And they did a great job. Yes.
And you know what, Sarah, here's the thing. In an emergency with my daughter, she drives up to school. And I, and also in the debit, there's not enough money for the debit card, and there's an emergency and she needs it, that credit card's there. You're on a road, you're in the middle of somewhere and you need help. Use that card. That's an emergency.
That's right.
So Mary, with my kids, I found they wanted to have their own credit card, but they couldn't get one until we had to establish a credit together for a couple of years.
Yeah.
They got turned down for a lot of people. So I always wonder, for people whose parents might not be able to share a credit card with them, what do you do?
It takes a long time, which was exactly what happened to me. I don't know when you guys were first getting credit too, because my parents didn't do that. And so I didn't have a great credit score and I had to build it. So I had to get the Jordan Marsh card, which is what dates me completely. I had to do that. I had to build my own credit and then I had to pay it. So it would be the same situation, that unfortunately it's that way, but it is the length. It's the length and time that they see. And it's just like anything. If you're a great student and you're a great student for a long time, well done. And that means that that's success for whatever college you go to. So looking at that track record. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's what they do.
Mary, I just wanted to say there's a question here that somebody asked, which is, in your opinion, which is the better card to have, debit or credit?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, in today's time, I think it's good to have both. I only say that because if I had it, I think you should work off the debit. But if there is that emergency, it's midnight and you're stuck on the road and all of a sudden a flat tire occurs and you need it and you don't have AAA, you better have a credit card. I just, in today's safety, you just need it. That's why I did it for my daughter who's 17, just because I was nervous about where they are. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. I'll stop that share.
Liz?
Yes, now I'm back. I don't know. I got knocked off. Sorry. I apologize for that. Good timing.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good question too. The mobile banking. That's great.
Mary, are you still sharing your screen?
No. Did you,
Okay.
is it still showing? No.
No, I just wanted to make sure because I got knocked off, so I'm back in. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, this is Nancy Kell. Can I ask a question to the students?
Of course.
Okay, that was my question, by the way. I'm very curious to know if the students are using mobile banking apps, and if they're working, do they have direct deposit? And I'm going to throw a third question in there, which is, are any of the students saving money?
Oh, good question.
Personally, I don't have any of the mobile banking apps, but I am saving money on the side.
Good job.
So you're not saving it in a bank account, but you're saving it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So a good practice with saving is whenever you do receive a check or money, always to take out like at least 10% or more. You know, and even if you're just saving or putting aside a little bit, it does start to grow over time. So, but that's like a good rule of thumb, you know, when you do receive a check for a birthday or something, to put away about 10% or so.
Amalia, are you saving for anything in particular?
College is like the main thing right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you a senior?
No, I'm a junior.
Yeah.
Okay. You.
Mary, are you set? Or because I got knocked off, so.
Oh yeah, I'm all set.
Oh,
So
you're all set. Okay,
yeah,
I apologize, everybody.
No, thanks.
So,
thank you guys. I
Okay.
appreciate that. And you know, I'll just add one last thing in. If you do have earned income, and even if you're young and you're actually making some money and you are actually, you know, my daughter works, she's 17 and she works for my husband and actually gets a paycheck. It's never too early to start a Roth IRA. Okay, so if you have earned income, have money to get in, start early, and we're here to help you. So it's thank you for having us, you know, and having Elizabeth and I appreciate it. I'm going to jump out too, just go take care of a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey, Liz.
Sarah, I think Liz must have gotten knocked off again because I don't see her on
Oh,
my
there she
screen
is,
at all.
but she's stuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody.
Oh.
I think that it was at the end of the program. I think she had a few more things to say to thank everybody again, Elizabeth and Mary, and also Felicia for helping us host this today. I hope that everybody found it helpful. And, you know, if you have any questions, here, somebody's sending us something. Okay, Nancy. Okay. But if you ever have any questions, hi, Nancy. Any questions about these types of things, please ask somebody that you trust, you know, on how to get these things, or, you know, we can also you can get in touch with Liz, and we can put you in touch with some people as well. But it is very, very important for you to feel secure and good in your future to have your finances together. I think we're going to do another one at some point on student loans and things like that. So you might be interested in coming to learn about that as well. Did you find it helpful, girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good. All right. Well, I wasn't supposed to be the host, but I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm the executive director of the Connecticut Women's Hall of Fame. Felicia, did you have anything else you wanted to say to the girls?
No, I just, it was a pleasure meeting you guys. I have to say, in terms of listening to this, I wish I had known all this when I was in high school. I said that, I'll say that again. And especially right now with what's going on with the banks and all the craziness and having my own business, the most important thing that you can have is a good credit score. If you're trying to be an entrepreneur in a business. So pay attention to that. Okay, but thank you. This was really, really great to see. And it's nice to, since I have 2 boys, it's nice to see girls interested in this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
you.
thank you, Felicia, for hosting this.
And Kathy's here too. Kathy's also.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Liz, we're saying goodbye. I can't hear you. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's technology. What can I say? All right. So can you leave we can all leave the meeting?